Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Here we are Macking Domain. We would like to do another interview with one of our clients, Every Nation Church. So today we are going to interview them and ask them to share with us a little bit about their journey to manage their media ministry. And today we have Neil, the worship and the tech director, and also the media ministry director, Benedict. So we want to welcome them.
Thank you for having us. All of a sudden, I got tongue-tied. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure to do certain things with you guys.
Yeah, good. Would you like to, introduce, yourself? What do you do in church, and then what are the things that you manages? Yeah, share with us a little.
All right, cool. Well, my name is Neil. Based on introduction, I am the worship and tech director for Every Nation Church Malaysia. I'm on full-time staff. So normally, if people ask me what do I do at church, I tell them I normally sleep 6 days and wake up on the seventh day just to do church service, which is just lies. But I take care of the worship ministry and obviously oversee the tech department with whatever happens in the weekend services. That's me, Ben.
Okay, I'm Ben. I'm the broadcast director here. Also a full-time staff. So whatever that is video related, live broadcast related, I'll be overseeing it as well.
Good. Yeah, good. So, share with us a little bit about your journey. Like, for example, during the lockdown since last year March, what had happened, and then why? How do you guys go about doing your work?
All right, cool. Maybe I'll answer this. So, uh, basically, what you guys see around us, behind us, is our auditorium, right? We're in the broadcast room. Behind us, the auditorium, and technically, when we built the church, we've always had live streaming on mine. But though we've pretty much set up the cables and so on and so forth, and though we have people serving on a weekend basis, live camera people, we've never really pushed the envelope in regards to live streaming, only because we didn't see the need. But obviously, because of the pandemic, last year it definitely pushed us. Like beyond our limits. Though we have certain things set up, there were just a lot of things that we did not know because, first of all, none of us have any broadcast experience, at least the ones who were serving. Um, and so definitely it was hard. So the first time when we heard about the pandemic, the possibility of having a lockdown, we did a couple of tests, which was terrible. Um, and so we never put it out live. I think it's still in one of my YouTube channels, just just to keep memories. But we were terrible. Like I didn't want to show it to anybody because it was just so bad. And like I said, we have no experience, so we are like trying to scramble our heads on what could be the possibility. Like lockdown wasn't really in the picture as well because we didn't really know how a lockdown would look like. So yeah, it was a mess. We were trying to figure out how it was back then. Our resources was pretty much limited. We didn't really have much gears, and eventually when lockdown took place, we submitted to pre-recording, which I will be honest, I hate pre-recording. I don't like doing post-production. It's not I'm not a fan of post production and stuff. Like there will be nights when me and some of the guys we would edit videos or even audio all the way from 3 all the way to 6 in the morning, and we only have a few hours to upload it for service. So when we had that window, or when we were informed that there was a possibility that we could start serving in church again, oh, that was like a dream come true. We definitely came back, and it was a journey. I will save much of the story towards later, as the questions roll by. Unless you want me to continue, Yokti. I don't mind.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, cool. Ben, you can come in when you can. All right. So, as I mentioned, we were doing pre-recorded stuff, and I hate post-productions and stuff. It's not really a big thing. So, but in the midst of doing those pre-recording, right, I was having a conversation with Tim David, who is our sound guy, our sound head here in our church. We were having a discussion on what is the possibility of doing a live stream. And obviously, with that thought, we did our own research. We did our own homework in regards to what can be done. What is it that we have in church to make it possible? What are some other stuff, like, for example, audio? What audio gears do we need to make this all possible? So in the midst of doing those post-production stuff in the earlier months of lockdown, we were doing our homework. So eventually, when we had the opportunity to come back to church, that's when we started to gear towards live stream. And since then, right, we never look back to doing pre-recorded again, because no way I'm gonna miss any more sleeps in the weeks or months to come. So yeah, but it was a journey. It was still a journey. It was still a journey for us. It wasn't something like I'm sure. I mean, if you guys had time, you guys can go back to our YouTube channel and see the way we produced our albums. Sorry. I'm a musician. I do produce albums as well. But if you watch any of our YouTube services somewhere around May, April, we're not too bad in regards to pre-recording. But maybe if you watch a little bit, a few weeks or months towards, when we started doing our live services, I think there were a lot of areas that we could still improve. And I think because of that, we had this desire to always want to improve. After every review that we do in our weekend services. Yeah, you want to add that?
Yeah, I think just to add, pre-recording versus live. Pre-recording, definitely there's so much more work to be done, and the amount of revisions that we ourselves want to do, even if it's okay to show, then reviews upon reviews, there's always tons and tons of revisions. And I think an important fact for live is live is current, so it also allows that space for the speakers and for the worship team to, if the Holy Spirit comes, there's an encounter and there's a channel to pass it through. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to mention that Ben, because he just joined us full-time on staff like a few months ago, has been a tremendous blessing. Yeah, and I'll be honest, I mean, he can say it for himself. He has no experience in regards to broadcast as well. Maybe he has something here and there, but it was a learning curve for him as well. I think with him coming on board, kind of like step up the game in regards to how we want to produce our live streaming. And I think with his background and his experience as a videographer, is that right?
Before I came full-time in church, I was in advertising. Then I transited into being a video producer, mostly on advertisement and commercials.
Yeah, so I mean, with that experience and stuff, I think pretty much challenged us to actually wanting to improve in our production week in and week out. Yeah, I hope that suffices. We can always you can always ask us some more. There's a lot of stories involved in between, so feel free.
Yeah, I know what is it like. I mean, when you struggle and you don't have time, and then you have to do a masterpiece out, and because we are not trained in the specific gears and talent, then it's a huge struggle.
Oh, definitely.
And sometimes, after the show, we just want to sleep in for 1-2 days, and then to make sure that, we recoup, and then the weekends come again, we have to do it again and again, and then it's tough,
Yes.
true. And then talk to me a little bit about team, how you seek help from team, and then what happened?
Yeah, like I mentioned, Tim David is one of our staffs as well in church. He's been with us since 2016. I would like to say it's 2016, and by profession is actually a sound engineer. He does have his own studio and stuff. But it was also a learning curve for him. All right, I always say this to people: not just because you know how to mix, or let's say if you're a studio engineer, it doesn't mean you can mix for live setting. And just because you're a live audio engineer doesn't mean you, and vice versa, it doesn't mean that you can actually do mix for studio. I mean, maybe there are those few people who can actually do both. I do know certain people who actually excel in both areas, but live broadcast streaming is a different ball game altogether. So Tim himself also went through that process of learning and discovering new things, researching. As I mentioned, we were also researching some of the gears that we could use in our church. So he also had to go through that phase where he had to see what would it take? What are the gears that we need to basically produce a good live streaming service for our viewers? And yeah, so Tim has been a tremendous blessing, just like Ben. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard from my colleague Jacob that I'm not sure whether it's a team connected to him. Maybe they were from some friends group and things like that. And after that, we went to help you guys on the streaming stuff. And
Yes. There's actually before that, during the pandemic last year, somewhere in the middle, maybe July or something like that, a friend of mine, a common friend of ours, Jacob and myself, told me that Jacob was actually into all this, what you guys do, new tech, TriCaster, and all the stuff for that. But I don't want to say I ignored it. Let's just say, in the whole process of trying to make sure that we have a good live stream, maybe I may have just misheard or something like that. So I may have missed that part. I do know that Jacob attended our church because, like, your colleague definitely. I mean, he attends our church, and I understand he's been working with you for a couple of years as well. So,
And I've been playing badminton with Jacob for the past couple of years.
yes.
And only during the pandemic, I know that he's working in the broadcast industry.
Yeah. So we're like completely oblivious about the people that actually attends our church, So that's one story. And then Tim told me, like, hey, do you know that Jacob actually does this? I'm like, is it? I mean, how come I didn't know? And then some of the guys told me, like, no, bro, we told you like last year. And then, I mean, a few months ago. And yeah, so I was like, okay, cool, get in touch with Jacob. So
Okay.
yes.
And then I know Jacob went in to do a live stream and then discover some of the things that cannot be done, and then and came back to me. I said, well, why don't we arrange a demo session? I mean, to go down and then to help them, to show them the TriCaster and then see what happens. I remember I went down and had a good chat with you. I know that you were still a little bit reluctant at the time.
Very.
Not know how true is this? And tell me what happened. Tell the audience what happened.
All right, Ben, do you wanna talk about this?
I think one important thing that is that we have to run service every week. So each week we have to go live without fail. So I think for a system switch to TC1, I think it's a huge step because I think to de-rig and to re-rig a new system within 1 week and to test and to continue service live all within a week or a span of 6 days, Monday to Saturday. I think it's a huge hurdle, and it's definitely it's a challenge for us that I think it would deter us from, and it would make us want to go back to pre-recording for maybe a session in 2 to 3 weeks just to make sure we are able to test the system to make sure the things is running fine before we actually go live. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to understand that though our desire was to do live streaming, right? Obviously, MCO wasn't in our side. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows that we went through the whole MCO, CMCO, RMCO, then we were back to MCO, and so on and so forth. There's just too many MCO that we've done, and because of the SOPs, right? There were a lot of changes, certain things that we need to shift. Like we have 2 building facilities over here in our church. So I remembered when we had to switch to where we had a limit to actually 5 people in to do recording and broadcast and stuff like that. So we didn't want to use the big auditorium. The auditorium was too big for 5 people. We really didn't want. I mean, there have been a couple of people, including myself, who had injuries just walking up and down the auditorium. So we submitted to just go to the smaller venue, which was a little bit more better. And the gears that we use is like Blackmagic, and I think Blackmagic products are actually pretty good. All right. Hence the reluctancy to actually move to new tech. Just being honest, all right. So when we went to the smaller building, because of the manpower that we had, we moved from a 1 ME, all right, here in the auditorium, to a 8M Mini, all right. Not even the Pro version. We went for the 8M Mini, all right. So when we went to the 8M Mini, obviously we had to figure out how to get multi-view, so on and so forth. It was a challenge, but we managed to pull through. And I think the difference that the Mini has with the 1ME was pretty much obvious. I mean, in terms of the quality, in terms of the frames. With that, when we moved back here to the auditorium, I think it was pretty obvious in terms of like the quality, the frame rates and stuff like that, which we didn't want. I think we wanted to have a certain standard in regards to what we produce outside. That became one of the reasons to why we were considering of upgrading. I'll be honest. We never really thought about TriCaster until Jacob came into the picture. We were actually thinking about upgrading to 2ME.
Yeah, the 2ME.
Yeah, and but again, there were just certain things that we didn't really take note or took into consideration until Jacob stepped into the picture. Anything you want to add from there?
No, I think making such a purchase, I think one thing to highlight is after having the loan unit over for one service, we liked it, but of course the price point wasn't in our favor, so to say. So I think there was a lot of planning that we took up a whole glass panel in the office. We drew maps on maps on how do we route all the videos and audios all together, along with the IMAX and the projectors. So, and we drew on both systems, both Blackmagic and on DTC1 as well. So there were tons and tons of considerations being made. So, but yeah, I think, but in the end, we chose TC1 because I think moving forward, so-called future-proofing ourselves as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was intense. I mean, if your next question was how the mind map look, I don't mind explaining it. But
yes, please.
Yes.
I mean, please.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I had to play the devil's advocate. All right. In terms of resources, like definitely the price point was the biggest factor. The biggest challenge, I would say. So hence we had to do that mind map. So as what Ben said, we had we had to use one of our church pastors' glass window panel, just to create this huge mind map to see what we're looking at. So as I mentioned, we did our own research as well in regards to the products that we wanted to buy. That is, if we go towards the Blackmagic route. And as I mentioned, Blackmagic products, has been pretty good so far in terms of our usage, and especially in the industry as well. So, and like I said, the price point was this was the challenging part from my side. So, so, so here we are. We're creating a mind map in regards to like
I think whatever the TC1 could do, we would try to recreate it in
yes,
the
we will
Black
try
Magic
to
system.
yes, like literally, like
Yeah.
recreate everything. Like, okay, we need the 2ME here. We need the Da Vinci switchboard over here. We need this type of computer over here. We need this particular switcher, this codex. What do you call that? Huh?
I think after that.
Hyperdeck. Oh, the one that the conversion rate, the frame. Um, Yes, are you here? The disseminator or whatever and stuff like that too. Because one of the biggest things that we had, right, was the frequency. Like
The frame rate. So previously we shot on Panasonic, so it wasn't an issue because they still shoot in 29.97 and 59.94. But I think over time we wanted to switch to Sony cameras, the A7 IIIs. So one thing we noticed is that even though the recorded files are still 29.97 and 59.94, but the HDMI out port from the A7 IIIs are sending 30 and 60, the round number. So what happened was the Blackmagic, it couldn't take those numbers, so we had to stream at 50. So one thing we noticed when we stream at 50, we had to shoot the A7 IIIs in 50 frames. Then when we push 50 frames to OBS and we wanted to stream at 50, YouTube takes it at 60 because one thing we learned over time is YouTube only takes 30 frames or 60 frames. Yeah. So when we were pushing 50 and YouTube took it at 60, there were some jitters and some frame drops.
Yeah. So stuttering here and there, and taking into consideration, like, because we do use Pro Presenter as well into our program, so it was a bit challenging. So here we are, we have the computer sending this frequency, then we had the camera sending us this and that, and so we needed that converter. So taking all that into consideration, we wanted to challenge the TC1. What can we get with the Blackmagic to accomplish what TC1 can do? All right, so we did that. It was intensive. Like, I had Tim will be there in some of our meetings. Ezra, which is another one of our staffs over here, we would sit down over there and we will literally scrutinize every direction to make sure we avoid the TC1. So, because if we can do the same thing with the Blackmagic products to produce whatever it is that the TC1 can do, I would go with Blackmagic all the way. I mean, just to make sure that, I mean, because from a price point, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was definitely yeah, we had that season. Yes.
And then what was the reason why you guys made to have a TC1? I mean, so quickly. I think it was like 1 week or something like that. You guys made the decision.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I think it was very long 1 week. Every day.
Every single day.
Every single day. For that whole 1 week, we were in church every day just to draw mind maps and what to be done to imitate what the TC1 could do. But I think over time we realized that it can be done to a certain extent, but it still takes more manpower. And I think our rack here will be fully racked up if we want to do the same thing, where when the TC1 comes in, it's like kind of an all-in-one kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I like doing things where it's hassle-free, like less hassle. If you guys take a look at our auditorium, I mean, it's not as big as any other auditorium over there. It's pretty much decent enough for a church size. But we do have high ceilings. I do not want to, like, for example, troubleshooting. The trouble of actually trying to climb up. So all of a sudden, I forgot what those things are called. Um, I forgot. But basically, we had to climb up the projectors and stuff that just to make sure, is it a converter issue?
Yes.
Is it and because the troubleshooting, we'll have to go back one by one. Okay, I was a sound engineer by graduate, so we were taught to like always find the source. So same thing in regards to whatever tech product that you have. If you have an issue in terms of troubleshooting, right, you always try to trace the source. So the thought about thinking about, man, what if the issue is up there in the ceiling? Man, that's a lot of work. Or what if it's not, but then maybe it's a cable issue? Or what if it's the disseminator that we have to convert the frame rates that's pretty much we're sending through our live streaming and stuff? What if this? So there was a lot of what if in regards to what we wanted to accomplish and stuff. So that played, I think, with that in mind, right? And knowing what the TC1 does, I think TC1, I wouldn't say it's all software. Obviously, there's definitely hardware over there, but I think in terms of the product TC1, it's pretty much software based. There's hardware, but I think that's I don't have to think so much of like, oh, what if it's the converter, because it's just that device that the TC1 has. I don't have to think so much. I don't need to go climb up the window and the ceiling and stuff just to make sure that, okay, is it a cable issue or is a converter fried? I don't have to think so much. So I think that was, I wouldn't say it's the main, but definitely one of the biggest reasons to deciding why we thought like, okay, not everybody's on full-time staffs. We have volunteers in our church. And the last thing that we want is to make it complicated for volunteers to troubleshoot like how we would troubleshoot on the weekdays and stuff for that. So because it'll be hard. I don't expect them to come over the weekday to figure out things and troubleshoot. So, and because we're dealing with volunteers, I would want probably a system that would be easier for them to actually troubleshoot by themselves. Yeah.
So can I say that you guys are quite familiar with the NDI and the TriCaster right now?
I would say for our current usage, yes, for what we want to achieve right now in a short-term basis. But I think in the long term, with this system, there's a lot of room for improvement. As in, there's a lot of things that we can do. What's that word again? Possibilities. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do with this system, the keying, the SKs and all.
Yeah, talking about that, our infrastructure isn't built on NDI system. Our infrastructure pretty much runs with SDIs and whatever is not related to NDI. So definitely, I mean, as what Ben mentioned earlier, it pretty much gears us to whatever we want to do or the possibilities that we can do in the future, because we do have a device that is set for NDI purposes. So yeah.
Yeah, just to give some tips, NDI is progressing and is advancing very quickly. New tech or NDI is actually coming out 5.0 for all the new machines ready. So there are a lot more advanced stuff is coming. So it's a good thing probably when the official launch of the 5.0, we will get in touch with you guys again. Was the learning curve difficult for the TC1?
I think with the support that was given, I think it was good. Definitely, as much as the supporting can teach, there's only a certain amount that we can take, and practice has to come. So, but I think one thing we appreciate that when Jacob was here within the first few weeks of installation, so he was here to help us to oversee the stream, to guide us through the streams as well. So learning curve is there, But I think once you get over maybe the first 1 or 2 weeks, and you getting hang of the system, then and knowing how to do the basic stuff, and I think from then on it's your own will whether how you want to set your workflow and how you want to run the service as well.
Yeah, Jacob has been tremendous. All the more I appreciate him, though he's been with us for the longest time. But I remember when he first demonstrated the product with us, I literally, like I said, I was playing the devil's advocate. Like, I was like, why is this not working? Why is the signal not here? Why is this? So, and yeah, I'm not saying that we had the luxury to actually spend a certain amount to get the product and stuff, but I wanted to make sure and probably give the pastors and our leaders the confidence, knowing that if we're going to go for this product, we did our research, we thought about the worst case scenarios, hence we want to go for this. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard about you guys saying that you want to go into, like, even though when people come back to church, you want to continue to do the live streaming. Share with us a little bit.
I think our design, our goal is we really believe that the situation online is here to stay. And also we have accepted the fact that when normal comes back, when people are able to come back into church, the views will drop. And I think to all you churches out there who's doing online streaming and online services, there's a pressure there definitely to get views. There's always pressure for that, and it can be demotivating sometimes when there is little views. But I think one thing that I personally believe is that online is here to stay. More and more people are more reluctant to step out of the house. So if we believers are already getting more reluctant to step out into church and we want to watch service online, what more the unchurched people? So there are already people not coming to church. So them being more reluctant to step out of the house would have less chance or less likely to step into a church. So being online, having the online presence, definitely I think it's one way to reach out to them as well. So I think this is our topic, but I think for churches, who have little views, or there's one thing I feel is that if you give me 10,000 viewers versus 100 viewers, but if the 100 viewers are able to touch 5 to 10 lives versus the 10,000 who are all believers, I would still go to the 100 views, because I think it's my desire. It's online is the way, it's a platform to reach out to people, and it's what we as a church do. We want to make disciples. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to add on that, our senior pastor pretty much strongly emphasized that online is pretty much here to stay. And even if the physical service comes back to some type of norm, we definitely want to improve, at least in this area of broadcast. And I think with whatever the pandemic has done, I think it pretty much equipped a lot of churches, including ourselves, to learn more about this. I mean, I pretty much focus on worship a lot. I play music and stuff. All of a sudden, I find myself behind the board and acting like a broadcast director when the one beside me is much better. But it's definitely here to stay. I think ever since we moved into online streaming, it's true what Ben said. I mean, there are a lot more people that have been reached out, and in fact, I know people who has not stepped into churches for the longest time actually attend our services, despite of them not coming physically. And the possibilities are endless. I mean, just because I think going the thought about coming to physical service and not doing online anymore, I don't think that should be the way in terms of how we think. The church, for the past how many years, thousands of years, has always been progressive. The teachings are the same, but how we communicate that message will differ depending on the situation that we're in. I'm just so appreciative because of technology. Despite of the pandemic, we can still do what we're doing, even what we're doing right now, to spread the gospel. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to find out, do you just use this TriCaster to do like a Sunday service, or do you use it for other purpose as well?
Apart from the live services every week on Saturday and Sunday, we use it for recording as well. I think like just today, we were prepping for, because our government is meeting, at 3 p.m. No, they are meeting right now, or it could be over. So a full lockdown may be in place. So we were actually prepping our sermon messages. So we also use it to record messages for our own church if we need pre-recorded stuff, or for other churches as well when they invite our pastor, to share the word of God. So we also do recording as well for other churches.
Yeah, and obviously somewhere down the pipeline, because we are a church that does productions as well, maybe for special occasions like Easter, Christmas and stuff. So we definitely see ourselves using the TC1 for such events. Definitely worship event, because we're planning to do a live worship a recording pretty much soon, hopefully when the MCO is up and stuff. Definitely TC1 is something that we are planning to go towards to accomplish whatever it is that we want to accomplish. I think just recently, one of our pastors felt that he wanted to stay at home also to do his message, or at least to do that session during that particular service. It was our campus service, our campus pastor. So he asked if he could be at home. So I think it was a good opportunity for us to actually try the Skype interface in the TC1, and I thought it was great. I think he liked it. He loved it. I think our viewers were blessed as well, because there was just a smooth transition flow in regards to the execution.
I think advantage is that the Skype is actually integrated into the system, so hence why there were less thinking needed of how do we route the audio or how do we route the video into the system to show it in the auditorium to the physical speaker here and to the online viewers all together. So it's a consolidated system that we are able to to broadcast things faster without needing to think of most of the routings.
Yeah, so the possibilities are endless, depending on whatever it is that the church may want to accomplish, whether it's just through a meeting or a sermon or a worship event and stuff like that. The possibilities are endless, so we're just barely scratching the surface of what.
Actually, our TC1 is connected to your TC2 now.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you have multiple new tech TC, multiple TriCaster users between churches, you can connect seamlessly, like right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe Jacob wants to pull out his screen and then to show that he's actually doing this live right now in.
Yes.
So you can connect to both. It's amazing. IP has changed the world and actually continue to help a lot of production people to think out of the box. So these are some of the good things. Let me see. Okay, is there any step that the church want to, no, not the church, the media ministries that will want to step out and then to want to do more in the future? What are the plans that you have?
One of the plans that we have right now, is it?
Yeah.
I think personally for me, my desire is to at least right now to equip this church first, and to make sure everything's running well. We train our volunteers well, that we are able to be more hands off, so to say. And once we are able to do that, we would want to standardize the services across our every nation churches as well. So once we are able to be a bit more hands off, we will actually go into all our other churches, no, to help them with our system. If they are able to work it out with the current system that they have right now, maybe just a reconfiguration is just needed for a better service. So I think beyond that, one thing that we desire is, every church outside, we believe in the same God, we have the same faith. So we believe that not every church can have a good service, and online is here to stay. So I think once we have all our other churches, in place, they're able to run their online services well, do services well online. We will also want to, if there's a possibility and a chance, we will also want to extend our help to the other churches as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I share. I concur with that. Definitely, that's something that's we so desire to see. Our physical services, I think in general, most of our physical services, not only in Every Nation Church but elsewhere as well, I think it's pretty decent, pretty good in terms of standard. But definitely online is something that everybody can improve on. And if it so happens that there are people over there, or maybe churches, that require some assistance, we are more than happy to assist in whatever way, just to make sure that you guys do play your part, with whatever it is that God has called you guys to do.
Yeah. Okay, last questions. What is the word of advice for the viewer right now? For those people who do pre-record or live and things like that, what was the advice that you have for them?
Advice. Maybe you can go first.
Okay. Don't give up. It can be very discouraging. Definitely for us, it was a bit discouraging, because here we are faced with something that we want to do, but obviously because of lack of experience, we weren't able to accomplish certain things. But we definitely had to start somewhere. So in the same way, for anyone out there who has yet to enter the game of live streaming and stuff, definitely don't give up. Do your part, do your research, reach out to people who has done it. Look into various churches. Like for us, I don't like. I had to remind the people who serves with us that let's not be complacent with where we are. We do watch other services as well in Malaysia and even overseas, and we scrutinize our own work. We are not contented or settling with whatever it is that we produce, because we ourselves know that there are certain things that we can improve. But it all starts with an attitude of not giving up. The moment you find yourself in a position where, like, I think I'm happy with where I am, then I think that can be a red flag that can be raised, because I think there's still a lot of things that we can improve on and be better at, provided that we have the attitude where we don't really give up in certain things.
Yeah, I think the important thing is don't be discouraged. We had streams that crashed and we couldn't get it back up, and the whole service was just died. Yeah, and I think, and it's as simple as we used the wrong cable. It overload, because it has to be a Thunderbolt cable. So that time we didn't have much knowledge on it, and we used like a normal data USB-C cable, where it's supposed to be a Thunderbolt cable. So the first 5 minutes was fine. Then it just went downhill from there, and we couldn't troubleshoot because we didn't know that it was a cable issue. So the whole service just died, and we just sat there and pondered among ourselves.
Yeah, we had pastors who were in the middle of preaching, didn't know that we weren't streaming live. but they were so in the mood, preaching and preaching and preaching, that we had to do our part to make sure that we just do whatever we can, make sure we get it live. And yeah, I mean, we had those moments, but you know, it can be discouraging, but don't give up, huh? Yeah.
Don't give up. Do it well. Do it with faith. I think as long as you do it well, you know you have given it all. I think as much as we fail off, as much as you fail, I believe God will pull you through and God will deliver, because we've always done well and we've always given the best that we can. And lost my train of thought.
Next question.
Next question. No more question for you. Free flow. Anything that you want to share? You know, I just want to tell the audience, we are here to continue to educate people how to use the NDI, whether you have TriCaster or without TriCaster. If you use our OBS, we are willing to share with you how to use it and use it well. Whether we mix user, we have NDI gears, we can explain to you how to how to utilize it well. So those are the education courses that we have been running week after week. If you're interested, can look, can write to us or text us. We are more than happy to share with you the knowledge that the Lord has given to us. We want to share with you, and NDI is only the network cable. The software, a lot of them are actually free. The shareware, so yeah, get involved and save good money, and
Yeah.
save headache,
Mm.
save the headache to like frame sync problem, and all those. Yeah. And any other thoughts that you have?
Yeah, I think if you are a church, looking for a broadcast solution or a tech solution, you can reach out to us. We will advise or help where possible. But I think if for any company wishing to improve your broadcast or start broadcasting, I think Macking did a good job, to recommend a solution for us. I think whatever your budget is or whatever your needs or what you wish to achieve, there's definitely a work around it. Yeah. And I think experiencing so far, I think more than a year doing pre-recorded and live streaming services. I think as long as we have an aim of what we want to achieve with the current gears and with current resources that we have, there is always a work around it, as long as we put in enough time and effort. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have nothing much to say. But thank you for your technology. Thank you for your product. It definitely helped us a lot, and yeah, we're excited to see whatever it is that we can accomplish. Like I said, we're just barely scratching the surface. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. I hope that the message, the discussion actually helps a lot of people, a lot of viewers and a lot of churches. So do chorus. Don't worry about the pricing. The pricing belongs to the Lord. The Lord will sort it out for us. But important thing is that to serve Him well. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again.